What if the rapture dogma and the churchianity nationalism was designed all along to hide a deeper truth of what Jesus meant? And I'm going to talk quick because I got a lot to cover in a little time. What are they trying to do? They're trying to get you waiting for escape or chanting Jesus is king so that you're not looking inward. That's the point. The loop keeps you distracted from what Jesus actually said. What did he say? He said the kingdom of God is within you. And my question to you is, how are you going to be raptured to heaven if the kingdom is within? Oh, that's right. Y'all churchianity goers tend to ignore Jesus' actual words. But that is also by design. Enter the legendary yogi Paramahansa Yogananda. He wrote over 1,000 pages on Jesus' actual words and what he really meant esoterically beyond the dogma, called The Second Coming of Christ. He wrote, I am not referring to a literal return of Jesus Christ. I am speaking of the second coming of Christ as the awakening of the Christ consciousness within man's own being. Now, I know when you hear Christ consciousness, it might sound new agey, even cringe, but that's also part of the trap that they laid out. They predicted people would find this information, so they tricked disembodied hippies into colonizing it. Because if the language of truth sounds foolish, you'll never consider it. And here's what Yogananda actually meant. Simply think of it like a radio. Christ consciousness is the frequency Jesus lived on. And if you go within, maybe this is what you could dial your tuning to. Just consider the idea. Because if that was true, it would make exact sense why later institutions tried so hard to turn Jesus from a God-realized man into only God himself, when they layered in Trinity theology and dogmas invented centuries after he lived. If you believe Jesus was completely unreachable, you'll never try to awaken the same consciousness he carried. That was the cover. And then Augustine doubled down with the doctrine of original sin. And suddenly, humanity wasn't seen as divine beings capable of awakening, but as fundamentally broken, corrupted since birth, needing salvation only from the outside. It's a perfect trap. Especially when you add the false light loop of the rapture. And it gets worse. Look at history. Entire communities who thought differently were labeled heretical, in many cases violently unalived. Early Gnostics, Arians, mystics, holy women who taught that God could be directly realized in the soul were condemned, exiled, and silenced by councils and state-backed church power. With all that being said, here's the irony. Today, millions of women faithfully worship within a structure that not only suppressed these female voices, but erased the feminine from the divine altogether, reducing the image of God to an exclusive male form and cutting women off from spiritual authority. Imagine worshiping a model that was designed to erase you from the story. I'm trying to get under 3 minutes here. So maybe the rapture loop and all these false light loops were designed for one purpose: to trick you into severing your own connection to the divine so that they can control you easier. Because what they fear the most is a human being plugged back into universal intelligence, not through belief like they've been trying to convince you for so long, but through direct experience or realization. And I'll leave you with Jesus' own words and question me. Please, do your own research. Quote, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do.